I didn't expect that. So I have to jump. Gosh, I'm too old for this, aren't I? Or not. We'll see when we get there. Hey, I'm Nancy, and right now I'm standing at the bottom of a canyon, camped on BLM land just outside of Canyonlands National Park, 30 miles down a single road. Just me, Willie, and 1,000 feet of rock towering above me in every direction. So far, I've been here one night. I could stay so much longer, but I almost missed this place entirely because before I even started down that 30-mile canyon road, my GPS went out on the main highway. I blew right past my turn, 10 minutes of dead signal, driving away from where I was supposed to be before it finally kicked back in and turned me around. 30 miles later, I found this campground. I think it might be one of the best views in the entire Canyonlands area, and almost nobody is here. Today, I'm hiking out into all of it, and I'll let you decide if I'm right. Okay, so there I am, standing at the top of a ladder somewhere in Canyonlands National Park, looking down at what feels like a very long drop, trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to get myself down this thing. And I'm doing what any reasonable solo traveler does in this situation. I'm talking myself through it out loud because there's no one else here. That's the thing about the Needles District of Canyonlands National Park. You might expect a national park in Utah to be wall-to-wall people, and some of them are, but this one is different. And by the time this video is over, you're going to know exactly how to see one of the most dramatic landscapes in the American Southwest, including those famous rock formations that everyone says are hard to find, for only about $7.50 a night. So let me back up and tell you where I'm actually staying, because this is one of the things I want you to know before you plan this trip. I am at the Superbowl campground. And yes, that's actually the name. It's a dispersed camping area, but it's organized into something that feels more like a real campground. You have defined sites, some sense of structure, but none of the hookups or amenities you'd find at a developed campground. It's primitive, and it's gorgeous. Wow, look where we get to spend the night for the next couple of nights. So these are tiny. Hey guys, so I've been working on something behind the scenes for a while now, and I am so excited to finally share it with you, because honestly, this is something I wish had existed when I first hit the road. It's the Making My Own Lane interactive campground map, an interactive digital map of every campground I've personally stayed in as a full-time RVer. There are two versions, and I want to tell you about both. The free version is available right now at makingmyownlane.com/interactive-campground-map. You can pull it up on any device, see every campground plotted on a U.S. map, and click any pin to see the name, location, and campground type. No sign up required, just go explore. But the unlocked version, that's where the real gold is. For a one-time introductory price of $24.98, you get my full personal notes on every single campground, the specific site numbers I actually stayed in, whether the site is level, cell signal info, amenities, things to do in the area, links to my YouTube video reviews for many of the campgrounds and direct booking links. Right now there's 86 plus campgrounds across 25 plus states, and I'm adding more all year as I head further west. And the 2026 upgrades are free. I'll leave the links for both in the video description. Okay, back to the video. Now, I also scouted out another campground nearby called Hamburger Hill, and I want to give you an honest comparison because when I was planning all this out, I couldn't find a clear answer anywhere. Hamburger Hill is about a mile closer to the actual park entrance. Same price. But here's the thing. The access road is longer and rougher, so by the time that you factor in the drive, you're really not saving any time. This is Hamburger Rock Campground, which was the second campground on my list if I couldn't get into the first one. These sites are more spaced out, farther away from each other. It's a little harder to get in here. The road I don't think is as well groomed. And this is your view. Still a beautiful view. But let me know which one you would prefer. The sites are more spread out around a hill, which gives you a different feeling, more isolated, more wide opened. My campground feels like you're down inside of the landscape. There's a bottom of the canyon rim quality that is a great contrast to my last campsite. And after spending time at Gooseneck State Park last week, where I was camping right on the edge of a canyon rim, this felt like the flip side of that. Same canyon country, completely different perspective. In Canyonlands, I like Superbowl Campground better. Both Hamburger Hill and Superbowl are good options, and both are dirt and gravel roads. A high clearance vehicle helps, but I manage some of the dirt trails here in my Jeep without any problems. And both are sitting in one of the most remote locations I've ever camped in my entire time on the road. The Superbowl campground is about 20 minutes from the park entrance, plus the 7-mile drive through the park itself. But I want you to really understand what remote means here. We're talking over an hour drive from the nearest gas station, over an hour from any kind of store. No cell service to speak of. If you forget something, you do without it. I have camped in some out-of-the-way places, Copper Harbor at the very tip of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, Voyageurs National Park in northern Minnesota, where the only way into some areas is by boat. And this is the most remote of all of them. Before you come here, fill your gas tank, stock your fridge, check your systems, because once you turn down that road, you are on your own in the best possible way. I also drove through the Needles campground area while I was here, and it's a beautiful setting, but it's not going to work for larger rigs as most of the sites are set up for 28 feet or less. So this campground is really hard to get into. We'll check it out. All right, first, let's check out Campground B. It looks paved. So this is more tent camping. Under a rock, how cool is that? So you camp under a rock. It's kind of like Hamburger Hill. Just gonna spin around. I've seen enough. I get it. So that's why I couldn't get in here, because it doesn't really take RVs. Maybe a van can fit in these spots, but
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Elephant Hill Road.
Would not fit in here. But if you just wanted to come and pitch a tent for a night and it for a night. Sometimes I think I should get a tent. Alright, so gravel and dirt for the next 2 miles.
In 2.7 miles, arrive at Elephant Hill.
Rough, narrow road with loose gravel, steep grades, and blind curves. Maximum length 21 feet. We are nowhere near it. I have done my research. This is a 2-lane road. It's 2 miles, and You should not need a high clearance vehicle to do this road. Condition of the road is not bad. It is just that it is a lot of blind curves. Here. I don't get it. Everything I read about this park said it's hard to see the needles. I don't know, maybe those aren't the needles. What am I missing? Before I take you out on the trails, I want to give you one piece of context that I think is essential if you're planning this park that I didn't fully appreciate until I got here. Canyonlands National Park covers 527 square miles. It is enormous, and it is divided into 4 completely separate districts: the Needles, the Island in the Sky, the Maze, and the Rivers. And here's the thing that surprises most people. You cannot get from one district to another from inside any of the parks. There are no connecting roads. Each district has its own entrance, its own character, and its own experience. If you want to visit more than one, you have to drive back out and start over. That's why my first stop at any national park is always the visitor center. I pick up the hiking guide, I talk to the rangers, and I get oriented before I make a single plan. At Canyonlands, that conversation changed how I thought about my time here. The park rangers helped me understand what was realistic for a solo hiker in the Needles district, specifically what the trail conditions were and what I shouldn't miss. Go to the visitor center first. It's worth the stop. And while you're at the visitor center, or really the moment you enter Canyonlands Park, stop at the park entrance sign. I want to say this clearly because I had read multiple reviews and watched several videos before coming here that said the needles are hard to see, that you have to hike deep into the backcountry to get a real look at them. That was not my experience. Standing right at that entrance sign on a clear day, I had a stunning view of the needles in the distance. No hiking, no special equipment. Just pull over, get out, and look. If you're visiting and you only have an hour, that view alone is worth the drive in. I think the key might be that the sky was so clear when I was here. So if you're planning your visit, pick your best weather day for this. Day 2 is when I laced up my hiking shoes and got out on the trails. Willie, my Shih Tzu, is not allowed on the trails here. That's the rule at many of the national parks. So he stayed behind at the RV while I headed out. No bark ranger badge for Willie at the Needles district. He was not pleased. I did 3 trails, and I want to walk you through each one because they're all very different and all very doable for a solo hiker at almost any fitness level. First, the Stone Storehouse. This is a short trail, and I almost skipped it because it sounded too simple. Don't skip it. The Stonehouse is a structure built by indigenous people to store food. It's tucked into the rock in a way that you might almost miss it if you pass by. This small, carefully constructed building that has been sitting here for centuries is doing exactly what it was built to do, keeping things safe. keeping things preserved. There's something quietly powerful about standing in front of it and thinking about the people who built it and what their daily life looked like in this landscape. It reframes the whole place for you. I would do this one first before anything else, just to set the tone for the day. Next was Cave Spring. This is a short loop trail, and this was my favorite of the three. So in this part of the trail, you have to duck a little bit. If you're much taller than me, 5'6". Actually, I fit pretty comfortably. Looks a lot shorter than it is, but this is underneath a rock. Pretty cool. This hike is only about a half a mile. Pretty. Cave Spring takes you to a historic cowboy camp, an actual camp with artifacts still in place. It gives you a window into what this remote corner of Utah looked like for the ranchers who worked here in the late 1800s. It's not a museum recreation. It's the real thing, sitting right there in the canyon. And then there's the spring itself, a sacred spring that has been used for thousands of years. The water is still there. The coolness coming off the rock around it is immediate and real. You feel it before you see it. Oh, it's much cooler in here. If you listen really carefully, you can hear the drip, as well as the flies buzzing around. But I do have to tell you about the ladders. There are 2 ladders on this trail, and I want to save you the moment of standing at the top of one, looking down, and having a little internal conversation with yourself about your life choices that day. So I see what I did. You can go 2 ways. Of course, I went to the right. And that is how I encountered the ladders going down. If you want to encounter the ladders going up, which may or may not be an easier trail, turn to the right. At the trailhead, you have a choice. Go right or go left. I went right, which means when I hit the ladders, I was climbing down them. And I have the video to prove that this was somewhat of an adventure. If you'd rather climb up the ladders, which is genuinely easier, go left at the trailhead. You'll hit the ladders on the way up instead of the way down. Okay, so I did it. I got down because I didn't want to go all the way back around again. This must be the way that you should. Oh, look at that hole up there. This must be the way you should go up. But honestly, if you just hug that wall coming down and then come down the ladder carefully. The good thing is I am on the right trail and I should be back to my car soon, I think. And I think the whole experience will feel much more manageable. Either way, the ladders are not dangerous. They're sturdy, well-maintained, and plenty of people do this trail every day. But I wish someone had told me which direction to go. So now I'm telling you. The 3rd trail is Pothole Point. So on this trail, you don't feel so much like you're in a canyon. Where I'm camping, I really feel like I'm in a canyon. And this is a simple trail. It's easy. It's right off the road. And this one's about geology and patience. The trail takes you across open slick rock to a series of potholes, natural depressions in the rock that fill up with water when it rains. When they're full, they become temporary ecosystems, tiny worlds. Fairy shrimp, tadpoles, things that have evolved to survive in water that appears and disappears with the weather. I was there on a dry day, so the potholes were empty. But even empty, the trail is worth doing for the views. From Pothole Point, you can see the needles in the distance, those distinctive red and white striped spires that give this district its name. And again, clear sky, good light, and they were easy to see. Before I wrapped up for the day, I found the wooden shoe arch overlook because it requires zero hiking and delivers a genuinely surprising view. It's a short drive, part of the loop road through the park, and you pull off to look out at the wooden shoe arch, a natural arch that does, if you use your imagination, look like a wooden shoe. The arch is set against the open sky and canyon, and it's one of those stops that takes 10 minutes and stays with you. If you're doing the Needles District and you have any mobility limitations, or you just want a no-effort payoff, this drive is for you. Do the whole loop. It's only 7 miles, and every pull-off has something worth seeing. On day 3, Willie finally got his moment. I loaded him into the Jeep and we drove through the park together, all 7 miles of it, plus the 20-minute drive from the campground. Willie was happy to get out of the RV for a while, even though I found that travel days and car trips really tire him out. The thing about driving this park road slowly with the windows down is that it gives you the landscape in a completely different way than hiking does. You're moving through it instead of standing still in it. The rock formations change as you go. The needles appear and disappear around corners. I also want to say something about the drive in from the campground, because the 20 minutes on that dirt road became one of my favorite parts of this whole stop. There's a moment about halfway in where the canyon opens up and you get a long view across the landscape, and it just stops you. That's the Needles District. It's not trying to impress you, it just does. I also want to come back to something I said at the beginning, that I had read the reviews, that I had watched the videos, that I had been told the needles were hard to see. And I get it. Some of the most dramatic views in this park do require backcountry hiking, miles of it, permits, preparation. That version of Canyonland exists, and it's probably extraordinary. But here's what I found. You don't have to earn the needles to see them. You can see them from the entrance sign. You can see them from Pothole Point. You can see them from the seat of a Jeep with a Shih Tzu who has his ears pinned back in the wind. $7.50 a night. A ladder I had to talk myself down from out loud. A cowboy camp that's been sitting in a canyon for over 100 years. A spring that people have been drinking from for thousands of years. And the needles. Right there at the entrance sign on a clear Utah morning, no hiking required. I keep finding this on the trip. The places that sound the most intimidating are sometimes the most welcoming. The remoteness that reads like a warning is actually the point. The trail that looks too short turns out to be the one you remember. You just have to show up. That's what this life does. It keeps showing me what's possible when I stop waiting for the perfect moment and just go. If this is the kind of travel story you want to follow along with, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you found any of this useful, the campground comparison, the trail tips, the ladder warning, a thumbs up helps more people find this video. I also have an email list where I share things that don't always make it into the videos. What I'm planning, what surprised me, what I would do differently. The link to sign up is in the description. I'll see you next week at Arches National Park, where I have just another no reservation, first come, first serve camping site picked out. Fingers crossed I can get in. I'll see you at Arches.